Tomorrow, the Commonwealth of Virginia has an opportunity to make history. If Winsome's elected, it will be the first African-American woman governor in the history of the Commonwealth. And also in the history of the United States of America. So, let me ask you this, how many times in your life do you get a chance to make history? We get a chance, so let's do it. All right. I'm the religious figure of tonight, so I'm supposed to pray. Can you join me in prayer? And let's ask for God's blessing for the Commonwealth. Lord God Almighty, we come to you and we just walk into the prayers of the generations, going all the way back to the first landing at Cape Henry, that you were honored. They brought a lot of things with them, but most important to them, they brought a cross and they put it up on the sand on the beach in Virginia Beach, and they dedicated this land to you. They bowed their knee, not to the King of England, but to the King of Kings. So tonight, we bow our knee to you, and we ask that you would be Lord over the Commonwealth of Virginia. You have brought forth our Commonwealth. You birthed liberty here on these shores. The first elected assembly, the first Bill of Religious Rights, all came from this Commonwealth. We thank you for that liberty, and we ask that you would preserve it and that you would be with us. And we ask it in the name above all names, Jesus, the Son of God. Amen. Amen. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the mayor of Virginia Beach, Mayor Bobby Dyer. Hello! Are we fired up or what? History tomorrow. If we may stand and honor our country with the Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all, and God bless you.
For the 2nd Congressional District, Congresswoman Kiggans.
What an exciting night, what a crowd. I'm so excited to be here. Who is ready to keep a good thing re-elect a Republican governor, Winsome Earle-Sears. And a great new Republican Lieutenant Governor, Reid. And re-elect our amazing Attorney General, MiYares. To flip our Virginia House of Delegates. I know that I am absolutely ready to flip our house because that's how we prevent some of this redistricting craziness that the Democrats, who are so annoyed in these days. It's trickling down from Washington, D.C., the insanity, this insane Schumer shutdown that we're all living through, all the other insane partisan politics is trickling down to Virginia. But this is how we make a statement. We get out there, we vote, and we elect Republicans tomorrow. And the whole team is here. The whole team is unified. It's certainly a privilege to represent this awesome and amazing 2nd Congressional District in the halls of Congress. But you all are the team we need. You're going to get us across the finish line in a matter of hours, and I cannot wait. It has been such an exciting campaign for all of the momentum that we've gained every single day. And we are here, we are unified, we are going to get this done because we are going to stop the Democrats from making Virginia look like California. You guys are the people that do that. So I have one last request because you've got a lot of great speakers here. I know you're excited to hear from it, me too, but my request for you, and I know you're going to hear people say, go out and get 10 friends, 20 friends. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you to go out tomorrow and get every friend that you have, everyone you've ever met, everybody in your phone, people that you see on the street, your neighbors, your friends, people you remember from high school or college now. Put a little thought into are these people we want to remind there's an election tomorrow. But please remind everybody you know it's a turnout game. We need every single person. The momentum is real. We can get this done, and it's going to be in a few hours. So we've done this before. I know what this feels like. When we flipped my congressional seat a couple years ago in 22, and we kept it in 24, we know how to win tough elections here in Virginia's 2nd Congressional District. I don't do it alone. I do it with this team. I do it with you guys. So thank you for being on our team. Go get this done. Get out there and vote tomorrow. God bless each and every one of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 74th Governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia, Virginia's Governor, Youngkin.
Commonwealth of Virginia, and one of them is how to win elections. You got to get more votes than the other guy. You know, you get more votes, you go vote. Everybody here has got to go vote, and if you have already voted, you got to go get, and you just heard it, 10 friends to vote. That's how we win. And by the way, if you came here with your husband or wife, that means you got to get 20. There's no bulk discount here. You got to go get them all. My friends, elections have consequences, and you know that. They have consequences. 4 years ago, we stood together and we said no more here in Virginia. No more are we going to demean and demoralize law enforcement. No more are we going to push parents out of the room in their children's lives. No more are we going to dumb down education. No more are we going to take your money and take it into government. No more are we going to push businesses away. We put a stop to all of it, my friends, because in Virginia, we lead, we do not follow. That's what we do. These people are great back here. 4 years ago, we had a Virginia that was lost. A Virginia that was bottom of the lists in job growth. More businesses are moving away. 25,000 small businesses had shut. A Virginia that was at a 20-year high in murder rate. A Virginia that had the largest learning loss in the nation in 4th grade reading and math. A Virginia that was seeing more people move away than move here from the other 49 states for 9 years in a row. My friends, that is not the Virginia we know and love. We came together and said, we're going to fix this. And let me tell you, you did something remarkable. You hired the best attorney general in America in Jason You hired a lieutenant governor that's about to be your next governor in Winsome Earle-Sears. And I will be humbled for the rest of my life. You took a risk, and you hired an outside businessman to serve you, and I want to thank everybody here. Thank you for hiring me. And Virginia has been soaring. I'll never forget that day on the Capitol steps where we signed that bill that said parents will decide if the masks come off their kids. And we got the masks on. We signed that bill that said parents will take sexually explicit materials out of their child's curriculum if it doesn't fit your family values. We back the blue in Virginia. And we have seen a 30% decline in murders. 30%. Guess what? More cops, less crime. More cops, less crime. More cops, less crime. More cops, less crime. My friends, it's not that hard. And guess what? You deregulate like we have taken out 100,000 regulations or streamlined them. And guess what? Businesses come like crazy. $143 billion of commitments from companies to expand in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That's as much as the last 5 administrations combined. And guess what happens when you're business friendly is jobs grow like crazy. 276,000 more people working today than when we started. Over 200,000 open and available jobs. And that $143 billion, it underpins another 85,000 jobs and 40,000 construction jobs. In Virginia, we've got jobs. And guess what? When there's so many people working, we run surplus after surplus after surplus. $10 billion of surpluses and $9 billion of tax relief back to you because it is your money. Your money. How many people got a tax relief of $400 and $200? My friends, this is common sense. And yet the other side is filled with nonsense. Winsome Earle-Sears has been here the entire time doing all of this with me and Jason. She knows how to do it. She does not need on-the-job training, and she is ready to lead from day one. And John Reid will stand up there presiding over the Senate as our lieutenant governor, and when there is a tie, he will vote for the conservative vote. John Reid will get the job done. And our great Attorney General Jason MiYares will once again be the people's protector and he would never threaten to put 2 bullets in someone's head, have their children die with war guns. My friends, there is a character test here, and Jay Jones has failed it. Failed it, failed it. He should not be allowed to run. He should be sitting on the sidelines watching right now. And the fact that Abigail Spanberger does not have the character to call on him to step down is disqualifying for her as well. My friends, we have a great ticket. We've got to elect Winsome. We've got to elect John. And we've got to elect Jason. I think we're going to win. Listen, Virginians know how to win. We are standing right now at a fork in the road. Right now at a moment where we have to decide which path we're going to go down. We cannot stand in the middle. That's not a decision. That is a concession. We have to choose the right path, the path to light, the path to lead in prosperity and opportunity. Or Virginia chooses the wrong path, the left path, a path to darkness. My friends, it's this simple. But if you stand in the middle, it is a vote for darkness. And therefore, we can't allow any Virginian to stand in the middle. They must choose the right path. And we have been doing this since the founding of our great nation. We have never stood in the middle. I'll tell you, 250 years ago, this past March, Virginians gathered at St. John's Church. There was a vote to be held, a vote to decide whether Virginia was going to raise a militia and take on the greatest military in the world to win our independence. And the first round of that vote was a tie. A tie when Virginians were saying, well, maybe we'll stand in the middle. Because, wow, that's a big army. I don't know if we can win. I might lose everything. My friends, there is no place in the middle. And a man got up from his seat, and he walked up to the front of that church, and he gathered himself, and he looked at his fellow Virginians, and he said, I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. My friends, I choose liberty. And therefore, we have to go in. Therefore, we must go vote. Therefore, we must get our friends who we walk with, who we work with, who we worship with. We must get them out to vote. Because when we vote, we win, and Virginia's future will be guaranteed with leadership from Winsome Earle-Sears, John Reid, and Jason MiYares. Now, my friends, I have a phone call I have to go make. I'm going to be hosting a tele-rally with the 47th President of the United States. With him before. The night before I was elected in 2021, we're going to have hundreds of thousands of people on this call, and President Donald Trump is going to tell every single one of them, get out and vote tomorrow so we can win. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this done and let's go win.
Committee Chairman Joe Gruthers.
Hello, Virginia. Are we ready to win? How great is it to have your governor, Youngkin? Now you can see why everybody across the country thinks he has a future in politics. He is unbelievable. Are we ready to make history tomorrow? Who here loves the President of the United States? a rising tide lifts all ships. We need Winsome Earle-Sears to be victorious tomorrow, and there's nothing that you can do you need to do everything you can do to make sure that happens. Listen, we have a huge choice. When the president works hard every day and he's on this phone call, the key is to get everybody you know to come out and vote. Everything depends on turnout. What happened with Jay Jones a month ago and that text message coming out, that closed the gap, and all we need to do is have a strong push and we can see our entire ticket end up winning tomorrow. But it comes down to you, and it comes down to turnout. Please show up and win. Help win this for the President of the United States, win this for the Governor's Ears, and let's bring it home tomorrow for victory. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 67th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, George Allen.
Ideas and things that will make Virginia a much better place for all of us to live, learn, work, and to raise our families. Yesterday, daylight savings time ended. You know what time it is now? Virginia savings time. And really, tomorrow is the day. It is a crucial day in the history of our Commonwealth of Virginia. It's a time for choosing, as Ronald Reagan said many, many years ago. It's a choosing between two different visions, two different philosophies, different ideals. The other side has different views. And I think when everyone in here, I know that, how many of y'all already have voted? Raise your hands. All right, well, that's probably 60%. The rest haven't. You'll vote tomorrow. That's great. But we need to persuade others. We need to persuade others. Look at it as people who are undecided, independent voters, people with common sense, who generally speaking share our views. And I believe in our Commonwealth and our country that character and issues and ideas still matter. Character really matters a great deal, and we've seen it in the midst of this campaign where the Democrats' nominee for Attorney General unfathomably said he would like to see children die in their mother's arms because their father had a different view. And what triggered him was that there were people who were Republicans who were kind of eulogizing a Democrat delegate from Southwest Virginia, and that upset him. I mean, that's so unsportsmanlike. It's so uncouth, so undignified, and unworthy to be a person of leadership in our Commonwealth of Virginia, in our Commonwealth. And he wants to be Attorney General? Heck no! Not when we have someone like MiYares, a proven leader, a protector of all the people from children to elderly. And the world's watching how Virginia is going to vote, and it is a test of the decency and sense of the people of Virginia. Issues, proven records matter. The other side, this is how arrogant and elite they are. They actually want to tell you what kind of car you ought to drive. And leave it to California bureaucrats to tell us our destiny in Virginia. We are Virginia. As Governor Youngkin said, we're the state that said, give me liberty or give me death. We don't say, give me whatever a California or New York or D.C. bureaucrat tells us what to do. We can chart our own course, right? They talk about affordability and the cost of living. If you look at your power bills in Virginia, there's an add-on for the Clean Virginia plan, the renewable plan, this offshore wind project, adding about 12% to everybody's monthly power bill. You know what the Democrats want to do? They want to add another 4% to your monthly power bill for a carbon tax and send that money to losing northeastern states that even have higher power bills than we do. Is that what we want in Virginia? If you want affordability in our state, we like workers to have freedom to join or not join a union and not have to pay union dues as the condition of work. Us being the furthest state north on the eastern seaboard with a right to work law, I guarantee you, gives us a big competitive advantage, and that freedom for workers must be preserved here in our Commonwealth of Virginia. The other side is going to listen to union bosses, and they're going to require local and state government employees to be unionized with collective bargaining. You know who that's good for? Lawyers. Well, those lawyers cost millions and millions of dollars, and it doesn't improve education or safety or anything else. They also want to have unions only allowed to build projects, state projects. You know what that does? Adds 20 to 30% to the price of a project. How is that affordable? It's not. Now, on our side, we have folks that want to make Virginia more competitive. Governor Youngkin talked about the migration in or out of Virginia and into different states. Ladies and gentlemen, people and businesses are not trees. They can and do move. They can and do move to places where they can keep more of what they earn, where their businesses can prosper, where the cost of living is more affordable. Our team understands that, from MiYares to John Reid to Winsome Earle-Sears. The other side would have us become like New York, or California, or Maryland, states that are losing population. As Governor Youngkin said, Virginia was stagnant or losing population for 10 to 14 years. And with these changes, Virginia is now ascending again. So there's a lot at stake in this Virginia savings time. Are we going to go over the cliff and become like the southernmost northeastern state? Or are we going to keep Virginia ascending again? And rather than letting criminals, felons out of prison early, we want truth in sentencing and criminals behind bars. We want school resource officers in our schools, unlike Jay Jones, who wants to get rid of them. There's a lot of state. I gave you a lot of different places to run, team. When you're talking to folks, is what does it matter whether they vote or not? So, folks, tomorrow is Virginia savings time. It's a 2-minute drill. You need to make sure you talk to everyone who's in your neighborhood, who you worship with, who you work with, anyone you run into. Heck, I was going through the Bobos, getting some fried chicken after being at the bagel place to bring home to Susan. And so I went through my order, and the size of mac and cheese, turnip greens, and butter beans. And he says, "Is that it?" I said, "No, one more thing. Make sure you vote for Jason MiYares for Attorney General tomorrow." So I get to the window to pay up, and I said, "You're going to vote for Jason and John Reid and Winsome and against 10-1? This is Virginia Beach." And he says, "I intend to do that." And I said, "Good for you." So even if you're going through a checkout line at a grocery store or a drive-through, everyone is a potential voter. And people who work for a living, who pay taxes, who care about their kids and their families, they ought to be on our side. So folks, in this 2-minute drill, execute it tomorrow, team. Our side is on the side of the working people, the taxpayers, the families, the entrepreneurs. And we're going to make sure that the world sees that Virginia is still the best place in the world to live, learn, work, and to raise our families. Go get it!
The 71st Governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia, Bob McDonnell.
Hello! Good evening, Hampton Roads and Regent University. What a treat to be back here at my alma mater, where I set foot on this campus for the first time 40 years ago. And tomorrow, you're going to elect another Regent University graduate to be the governor of Virginia, 75. Thank you, Chancellor Robertson and the Regent community for having us back. Are you all ready to win? Are you all ready to win some? Are you ready to win all, including the House of Delegates? All right, I'm at the right place then. I'm so glad that all of you are here on the eve of the election to do all those important last 24 hours of work that you can do to really swing the outcome of this election. We have got a great group of candidates with Winsome and John and Jason. They're people of deep values, of character, of a great work ethic, but most importantly, of faith and results. That's the people that we've nominated to hold up the Republican banner this time, and I'm so glad. And you know how the best thing you can do to know what somebody's going to do when they're in office? You look at what they've already done. That's the best measure. And look back. Go ahead and clap for this team. Go ahead. Look at what the Youngkin, Sears, MiYares administration has done these last couple years. Unbelievable. George and I know a little bit about this job, and I'm telling you, they have done tremendous work. $9 billion in tax cuts, $10 billion in surpluses, $150 billion, I'm rounding up, Glenn, in capital investment with new businesses coming to Virginia, hundreds of thousands of new jobs coming to the Commonwealth, protecting our right to work laws, cutting down violent crime significantly, dramatically reducing the fentanyl coming in and poisoning and killing our young people in Virginia. The biggest investment in the history of the Commonwealth in education, K-12, innovation in higher education with lab schools and charter schools and other ways of creating competition from the marketplace of ideas in our universities, reform of workforce development, mental health, turning Petersburg around, on and on. This is an outstanding administration. Don't you want to elect somebody with a proven track record of getting things done? No OJT necessary with these three leaders, I can tell you. So, Governor Allen mentioned the great speech of President Ronald Reagan in 1964, the time for choosing, when he was campaigning around the country for Barry Goldwater and basically distinguishing the Republican ideals, the conservative philosophy of leadership and government with that on the left. And he said so many important things. You know, we're only one generation away from losing America and losing freedom. That if we want to continue to be the shining city on the hill, it takes hard work and prayer and conservative values in order to do that. You cannot take liberty for granted. And I hope that's why you're here tonight, giving up Monday Night Football to come out and cheer for our team here, because you believe in that same thing. And this cannot be overstating because of the vast move of the Democrats, the American left, off the deep end. The choices are now hard to believe, but between capitalism and socialism, between an opportunity society of guarantees and an entitlement society of guaranteeing, between whether you believe in police and border and traditional values or whether you want to abdicate from the what's made America great and go towards chaos. This is what's at stake in this next 24 hours. There are no more moderates left. No more moderate Democrats left in the Virginia House or Senate, and none of them on this statewide ticket. That's why we're here tonight, is to tell you and ask you to do everything that you can. You're all leaders. That's why you're here. You can email. You can text. You can go knock on doors from now till 6 in the morning. You can do all kinds of things. Put up a couple more signs in your neighborhood. There's still things you can do, because these races now are down to margin of error. This is a turnout race. You turn out more conservatives, people of faith, people of conservative beliefs that believe in the Republican creed, then we'll win tomorrow, and Winsome Earle-Sears will be your governor, and it'll be a great day in America. But if you don't, here's what happens. If the Democrats win, I can promise you this, the right to work laws, the single policy that for 82 or 83 years that Democrats put in place to be able to have a fundamental rule that you can have a job in Virginia without having to join a union, that will be gone. Taxes and regulations will go through the roof. The policies that come out on public safety will be criminal apologist policies and no concern for victims of crime, and on and on and on. And the great Commonwealth of Virginia that we all know and love and have served now for decades and decades will be an unrecognizable place when it comes to the way the government culture works in our country. And so I'm asking you, you've got incredible candidates. How about Winsome Earle-Sears, immigrant from Jamaica, coming here with virtually nothing with her family, and from New York to Virginia, and now on the very edge of the American dream to be the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, walking in the footsteps of Henry and Jefferson and Youngkin and the rest of the great leaders that we've had in our Commonwealth. She's a person of deep faith. Her family is first, and she will treat you and your families like they're her very own. How about John Reid? Can you believe a conservative member of the media running for lieutenant governor as a Republican? Doesn't come any better than that. He understands these policies of Ronald Reagan, just like his father, who served in the House of Delegates, who was a tremendous leader, and John believes it to the core of his soul and will be a great lieutenant governor. Now, he may not throw down the gavel with his high heels like Winsome did, but he will be a good lieutenant governor. And then the best attorney general in America, Jason MiYares, running for re-election. Somebody who thinks every day, how can I keep 8.3 million Virginia's families safe? That's what we've got. So ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming tonight. Get energized. Do all of your last bit of work. And tomorrow we'll have a Republican sweep, and we will have a great government in the Commonwealth of Virginia for years to come. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, John Reid.
Oh, wow! Hello, Virginia Beach! Hello, Virginia Beach! Y'all look great. Thank you. I am so excited to be here tonight. I have not slept in 2 days. So who knows what I'm about to say? Last night, I did get home to my own bed, and I fell asleep for maybe 2 hours. Then I woke up. I'm like, I can't sleep. I can't sleep. I got to win. I got to do something. I got to win. Is that how you feel? We got to win? We got to win on Tuesday? Look, I am so excited to be running for lieutenant governor, especially with an exceptional gubernatorial candidate like Winsome Earle-Sears. You know, Winsome used to come on my radio program all the time, and I would throw curveballs at her and stuff, and we had good conversations. But can I tell you, we've seen some things in the city of Richmond, my hometown, that are really atrocious. One of them was a shooting at a theater at a high school graduation. And I watched. Winsome got in her car. She didn't call some consultant, like, should I go? Let me call the police and see if it's okay for me. She got in her own car. She drove down to the theater. She parked. She pushed her way through the crowd. She stood next to the Democrat mayor and the Democrat school superintendent and the Democrat prosecutor, and she called them out and said, these types of things are happening because you don't have the guts to lock the bad guys up. That's the kind of leadership we need in Virginia. Clear standards. that are not focus tested up in New York or Washington, D.C. We don't need that influence. We need somebody who's lived enough to know that these are the ways that we get to a safe, prosperous society. Jason MiYares would come on my program all the time, and I always threw him a curveball. I've known him for years. I figured I could get away with it. He didn't take the bait. You know why? Because he's a serious lawyer. And he interprets the law, not his feelings, not his emotions, not what he wishes the law said, but what the law actually says. And so even when a pesky member of the media, like I used to be in that former life, starts trying to play games with him, he doesn't fall for it. I think that's really important, that we have an attorney general who cares about the law and justice and doing what is right for the people of Virginia and doesn't spend 1 second thinking about how to kill his political rivals and their families. Now, this is a pretty great venue. And you know, this is the first venue in about 2 weeks where there hasn't been barbecue. Every place is barbecue, and you gotta smile because you don't say, I don't want the barbecue. The little old ladies get very upset when you don't take the barbecue. And this jacket fit perfectly about 6 months ago. And here I am at Regent where people dress up and I can't button the top button. So as soon as this is over, I'm gonna get back in shape. We've done some great events, you know, black tie events with really snobby people, but they got money, so I gotta be nice to them because I got money. And then we've done lots of, you know, hoedowns and this and that. Well, a couple of weeks ago, this is so amazing. We had a barbecue event, of course, but it was on a Saturday, and everybody brought their kids, which is terrific. We want the next generation of conservative voters there so they can hear from us. Well, what do you do when you have an event with kids? You hire somebody to kind of entertain the kids. So they hired a clown to take care of the kids, you know, with the balloon animals and stuff. I'm kind of freaked out by clowns. I haven't told anybody that. It wasn't in the contract, but I don't know. I didn't feel good about it. So out of the corner of my eye, there's this big happy clown. At least that was what was painted on his face. I don't know. He was over in the corner. He's blowing the balloon animals up, and he's staring at me while I'm giving the speech. Not talking to the kids, staring at me. And so I'm going through my standard speech, very entertaining. But there's this weird look from the clown. I'm like, do we need to call security on the clown at the hoedown? What's going on? So I finally finished the speech, and he's getting closer and closer and closer, and I wrap up, and he comes rushing up to me. Mr. Reid, I'm a Democrat. I never would have guessed. But here's the great part about it. He said he'd been a Democrat his whole life, and he said he'd never heard somebody tell such a compelling story about free market capitalism and the culture that is being eroded right in front of our faces. And he said he's voting for us on Tuesday. Yes, yes. So look, by my calculations, we only need to convert 100,000 more clowns, AKA Democrats. I'm being mean, that's a joke. Please don't get mad at me. I'm joking. I want to be friendly. Look, we can do it. You just got to pick up the phone and have some uncomfortable conversations. Can I be serious with you? Since I started this campaign on January 27th, I've traveled all across the state. I've gone to places where Republicans don't normally go. Like I went to the NAACP meeting. That was comfortable. They were kind of surprised. Like, are you a Republican? I said, yeah, Republicans don't come visit us. I said, I do, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk to you, because we've got a lot more in common than we have that separates us. I went to the Baptist General Convention in Roanoke. Well, I went to Baylor University, Baptist school. I didn't realize it was a black church thing. So I walked in, I was the only white guy there. And they said, we don't have a lot of people like you coming here. And I said, I'm coming to see you, and I'm going to come back too, because there's a lot more that unites us than divides us. I went up to Northern Virginia, to the mosques and I sat with the imams. Now, if you know my personal story, that's kind of an uncomfortable conversation to have. But a leader has those conversations with the people that you seek to lead. It was 3.5, it was supposed to be about an hour, it was 3.5 hours. At the end, I don't know whether I won over any votes, but I know that the people of Northern Virginia in those mosques know that I'm serious about being a lieutenant governor for all Virginians. I went to some evangelical churches who were very concerned about me being the candidate for lieutenant governor. I understand. You know, I grew up in an evangelical church. I understand. I respect you. I'm not trying to be the associate pastor of your church. You might not give me that job. I'm trying to be the lieutenant governor, which means I have an obligation. I have an obligation to protect everyone's rights. And I'm going to take that seriously. That means your pastor gets to preach whatever your pastor wants to preach. It means that your church can be organized any way you want to organize your church. You don't have to ask for my permission as a citizen or as lieutenant governor. You get to decide how you live your life. That's not for me to say. I want to be in a role where I can protect everyone's rights, and I promise you that is not what's being said at a Democrat rally tonight. Most politicians want you to bow down to them. That is not the attitude I have. I'm prepared to go anywhere in the state, and quite frankly, unlike our friend Abigail Spanberger, I'll work with anybody. She says she won't work with the president. That's a real shame, because I can tell you right now, if Joe Biden were still president, I didn't vote for him. I didn't think he used to have an office across the hall from mine when I worked for George Allen in the Senate. Not a big fan. But I would work with anyone who's bringing jobs to Virginia. That's the mindset of a leader, of someone who's looking out for the people of Virginia, and that's what I want to bring. I will tell you, have you seen my opponent's television ads? You haven't seen her. You didn't do anything. She's not here tonight, is she? Because we could still do that debate. We got 24 more hours. She's refused all the debates, but Ghazala Hashmi's got $8 million from the same exact socialists and Islamic radicals who are funding Zohran Mamdani in New York. The same people. What does that tell you? We don't want to be New York. We want a responsible leader as lieutenant governor, and that's what I'm offering to do. And she keeps talking about how this crazy John Reid, he wants to mess up public education. No, I don't. I went to public schools. My dad was a public school principal. My mom was a public school teacher in Charlottesville. My grandmother, 30 years, public school teacher back when they still taught Latin in Greensville County, in Emporia. I love the public schools, but can I be honest? Are we allowed to do that anymore? We got to fix the public schools that aren't working. How about that? How about that? How about somebody who shows up at the Capitol not trying to make the problem worse and extend it so they can win the next election? Somebody who rolls up their sleeves and actually tries to get something done at the Capitol. That's the kind of leadership I want to offer for you. And finally, this is the most important thing, and I hope all the police officers who are here will hear me. I hope all of you will hear me. I was in Richmond in 2020 when the violence happened, when the $250,000 public bus was set on fire, when my friends who were cops were pelted in the face with balloons filled with urine and feces. Not one night. Bad things happen one night. People get drunk. They're mad. Okay. 3 months of violence. Black families who had spent their entire lives building businesses, looted, burned out, raided, abused, quite frankly, by white people who were so arrogant that they thought they should take over the city streets. Let me be clear, and this is what a lieutenant governor does. It's what a governor does, what a leader does. We're not going to have violence in the state of Virginia anymore. We're not going to agree, and that's okay. 8.5 million people, we're not going to agree on everything. That's fine. But we're not going to abuse each other. We're not going to threaten each other. We're not going to harm each other. And leaders have to step up and make that very clear. and work through the problems and find the common ground. That's the type of leadership that I want to bring as Lieutenant Governor. So let me finish with the same thing that I've told everybody. It's my closing message to you. If you choose me as your candidate for Lieutenant Governor tomorrow, I promise you, I will go to the Capitol and I will be the reasonable man that you have been looking for. I will be the responsible person with your money and with the decisions that I have to make. I will be respectful of other people, even the people I disagree with. How's that? That's important, isn't it? And most importantly, every decision that is entrusted to me, you have my word. I will contemplate, I will think, I will listen to other people, and when I'm asked to make a decision, I will attempt in the most sincere way to be fair to everyone in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I appreciate your support. Please get out and vote. I'm excited. Let's go win tomorrow, everybody. Thank you.
MiYares, I'm asking you to rehire me to be the people's protector. Be the Attorney General, and it has been such a joy to get around this state, to talk to you, because there's so much on the ballot this tomorrow. And I do have to say, how many Virginia Beach residents we have here? All right, the first thing you have to know is give you the last thing on the ballot, but it's one of the most important. You gotta vote no on 10-1. Because you got folks who want to deny your ability to vote for everyone on council, everyone on school board. So vote no on 10-1 tomorrow, all right? Now, as I walk around the state and I go to every part of this Commonwealth, part of my job and Winsome's job is also remind Virginians where we came from. Because leadership matters, folks. Who we elevate into leadership is so important. And I got to give you a Wayback Machine journey. We're going to go back together to the Virginia of 2021. Do y'all remember that? Do you remember the Virginia of 2021? I did this at an event. Somebody came up to me and said, man, it's like getting PTSD here. But in all seriousness, the Virginia of 2021 was a state that was dying. It was a state where you were being told, you know, parents don't matter. You don't have a role in your children's education. The Virginia of 2021 was a state that was 46 in the country in job creation. We were 48th out of 50 states in reopening our schools during the pandemic. Do you remember? We had politicians in Richmond, left-wing politicians, that were telling all of us, you know what? We're going to keep our ABC stores open. We're going to keep our private schools open. But for all of us that have our kids in public school, keep your kid at home for 8 hours a day, and somehow that's a quality education. And probably the most startling thing was in 2021, we saw the data. And we saw the people that were leaving the state in droves. In 2021, we had 8 straight years of more people moving out of the state than moving into the state. Folks, that had not happened since Calvin Coolidge was president. I did have a young staffer ask me, who in the world is Calvin Coolidge? So, if you don't know, that had not happened in 100 years. And then something happened in 2021. Do y'all remember? It was called victory, right? You hired me, you hired Winsome, you hired Glenn. And a lot of you all were there that day in the Capitol, January 2022, where we did a quick prayer on the steps, and then we went to go work for you. And as Glenn says, we never take plays off, right? And by every objective standard, this has been the single most remarkable 4-year turnaround any state has seen in modern American history. From being at the bottom of job creation and now top 5. The highest labor force participation rate we've ever seen. More net new jobs created in the first 6 months of 2025 than all 4 years under Ralph Northam, our previous governor. Incredible. And yes, $140 billion in new investment that's come in. That's greater than the last 4 governors combined. And we stopped the trend. Now more folks are moving to Virginia than moving away Virginia. Now, folks, if you think, well, you know, maybe Virginia got lucky. Maybe it's just by chance. We can look what other states are doing. We can look at the Californias and the New Yorks and the Marylands. What's so amazing to me is our friends on the left are constantly saying, like Abigail, hire me, I'm going to lower your cost of living. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know of a single blue state that that's the case? Any blue state where your gas bill's lower? Where your utility bill's lower? Where your grocery bill's lower? Where your rent is lower? Do you notice the theme here? And so the best predictor of future performance is past performance. We know that right now Virginia's a state that went from being a dying state to a thriving state. And you can look just a little bit up farther north up in Maryland. They had a great Republican governor, Larry Hogan. I was on the phone with him. He's like, you know, Jason, when I left office at the end of 2022, Maryland, we had a tax rebate, we had economic investment, we had a budget surplus, and then he left office, and a far-left monopoly descended into their state capital. And what did they do? Tax and spend, tax and spend, tax and spend. It's always the same playbook. Folks, in less than 2 years, Maryland is now the 3rd highest tax state in the entire country. Well, do we want a Maryland, Virginia? I didn't hear you. Do we want a Maryland, Virginia? Now, when I said that we were a dying state, I meant that in a literal sense. As Attorney General, I'm the top prosecutor. I'm the attorney for the Commonwealth. And folks, the Virginia of 2021 was literally dying. It was a state that had a 20-year high in the murder rate. It was a state that had a 30-year high in our violent crime rate. It was a state that had the highest levels of addiction deaths ever recorded in the history of Virginia. You could go to some areas of the state, like Southwest Virginia, where they had 60 consistent years of gains in life expectancy until OxyContin was introduced. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. And so when I got hired, we made several promises to you. Number one, I said, we're going to work with police instead of against police. Novel idea, right? Because when we took office, morale was so low. We had some of our police departments that had 40% vacancy rates. And so myself and Winsome Earle-Sears, we made several promises. One, we're going to put more cops on the streets, which we did with Operation Bold Blue Line. The second thing is I promised, I said, listen, I'm going to make my office, the Attorney General's office, the top prosecutor office, back to prosecuting bad guys. We're going to take the politics out of this office. We're going to go after those repeat bomb offenders, and we did. Because this 20-year high in the murder rate, this is what we saw, was primarily concentrated in 13 areas around the Commonwealth. We also saw that roughly 5% of felons are committing over 50% of violent felonies. So it's common sense, right? You have to go after that small subset, and so many of them are in the narcotics trade. So I'll just give an example of one of our cities. We launched this Operation Ceasefire in our 13 localities, going after these repeat bomb offenders. In the city of Roanoke, 0.12% of the population of Roanoke, that's less than 1/5 of 1%, was committing over 30% of the homicides in that city. So we investigated them, we indicted them, we prosecuted them. The city of Roanoke's murder rates dropped 62%. Hopewell, 66%. I can go down the list. It's a remarkable drop of our murder rate that's happened in Virginia because we actually worked with law enforcement. I promised Virginians that we were going to go after the fentanyl dealers poisoning so many of our kids. And we did. We went after these fentanyl dealers, removed enough fentanyl off the streets that would have taken the lives of 7 million Virginians. I promise you we're going to go after those big pharmaceutical companies that push OxyContin in Southwest Virginia. They came 25 years ago and they treated all of us like we were a chemistry experiment. They literally started in the coal fields of Southwest Virginia. And they said, listen, we have this amazing new pain pill. It's great for back-related injuries, work-related injuries, but you have nothing to worry about. It's not addicting. It's called OxyContin. And now we know they knew. They were pushing this addictive chemical. So I investigated them. We sued them. We got some of the largest settlements in the history of Virginia, $1.5 billion. That money second chances. And we've said we're not going to let addiction deny your future. We want you to go beat addiction and live your best life. And the second was obviously going after these fentanyl dealers. So earlier this year, Governor Youngkin and I got called up to DEA National Headquarters where they announced that Virginia wasn't top 10, not top 5. We're the #1 state in the entire country in the drop of addiction deaths. Now, I'm really proud of my record, Virginia. So proud of my record as I ask you to rehire me to continue to protect you. But I'm applying for the job. I'm asking you to rehire me. But now we got to discuss another job applicant. There's somebody else applying for this job. His name is Jay Jones. It is pretty amazing. Everywhere I go and I mention his name, I get that reaction. Because listen, Jay Jones is asking you all to hire him to be the top prosecutor in the state. He's never prosecuted a case a day in his life. And the best predictor of future performance is past performance. What did he do when he was in the General Assembly? Well, he was a left-wing social justice warrior. Every chance he had to stand with police, he stood against police. Every chance he had to stand with victims, he stood against victims. And his legislative record is simply stunning. He voted to end the mandatory reporting requirement of sexual assault in schools. Which you all remember the scandal, the national scandal that happened in Loudoun, right? Where the 15-year-old boy put on the skirt, walked in the bathroom, raped that poor girl, and then rather than being reported to police, he was just transferred to another school where he assaulted another child. That was because of the law Jay Jones championed. He's advocated for removing all SROs out of our schools. Those are literally the cops at our schools protecting our kids. He wants them out, I want them in. He voted no on 60 days in jail as a mandatory minimum for a repeat spousal abuser. He thought we had to be more, quote-unquote, thoughtful. He thought 12 months in jail for a drug dealer who goes onto our children's property, school property, and sells drugs to kids in jail, on school property. He thought that was too harsh. He voted no. He voted for the disastrous Route Northam Early Felon Release Program. 9,638 felons got released early. In less than 2 years, 49.8%, 50% of them were already rearrested. By every objective standard, Jay Jones is not qualified for this job. But, and I don't know if you've heard, because I know my race has really flown beneath the radar. Nobody's really paid much attention to my race. But now my race is so much more than just politics. It has now become a national referendum on decency. I never thought running for this office that suddenly I would get press calls from Munich and Sydney, London, England, from Seattle, Dallas, and LA. I've never, ever anticipated getting the level of attention that has come our way. Because those text messages were much more than simple musings. They were a reflection of who Jay Jones really is. Abraham Lincoln once said, "The character is what you do in the dark when no one is watching." Well, when he was in private and not being a politician in public, what was Jay Jones' heart? Dark, as someone said. This whole thing started because Jay Jones, see, he was upset. Todd Gilbert, who I used to serve with in the General Assembly, had dared to say something nice in memory of a Democrat state delegate who had just passed away. And Jay Jones was upset because how dare you say something nice about your political opponent? See, what he wrote by his own handwritings was that he wanted to urinate on the graves of the people he disagreed with politically. He wants to awash them in something, in his own words, as he enters in the next life. And what makes this so startling for me is that I served in the General Assembly with Jay Jones. I see Emily Brewer here, my old seatmate. She did as well. So she knows what I'm telling is true. We all know Todd. We served with him. We know his wife, Jennifer. She would come to the assembly all the time. So did Jay Jones. We know his children. we would see them running in the hallways of the General Assembly. At the time these text messages were sent, they were 2 and 5 years old at the time. And what's so remarkable when you read this exchange, and with all respect to legacy media, they haven't really captured the extent of it. There's this exchange where his colleague is telling him, Jay Jones, please stop. Please stop. You've already said you wanted 2 bullets in the head of Todd Gilbert. But Jay, you are saying you hope Jennifer Gilbert's children die in her arms. And his response, and I'm directly quoting him, is this. Yes, as I told you before, it is only through pain that people move on policy. Think about that. Now, part of why this was so stunning for me is first, he knows Todd. This is a real husband and father he wanted to see dead. He knows Jennifer. This is a real mother that he has met before. He knows these kids, ages 2 and 5. But when all this broke, the other thing that shocked me the most was just something in memory of basically my family story. Now, a lot of you all are familiar with my family heritage, and I travel around Virginia a lot. I'll get asked sometime, what kind of name is MiYares anyway? And I like to say, what's the Southern name? It's Deep South. But my family fled Cuba with nothing. And I was always raised to understand this is the American miracle. That this is a country that has given more liberty and more freedom to more people than any country that's ever existed. And folks, part of what makes the American miracle work is we settle our differences at the ballot box and not with bullets. And my mother shared something with me. I remember she told me this story years ago, and it popped in my head when I read this horrific exchange. She said, in Cuba, when the communists took over, the Marxists, when they were literally inflicting pain on the innocent, when they were beating people in the streets, when they were taking people in the middle of the night with no trial, when they were doing things like taking my uncle, Angel MiYares, and putting him through a mock execution, when they were nationalizing businesses, when they were taking away people's homes. She said, the Marxists, they never once thought of themselves as the bad guys. They thought it's okay to inflict pain on the innocent if it means you're building a quote-unquote greater society. One of my favorite quotes from C.S. Lewis is this: of all the tyrannies in the world, the absolute worst tyrannies are the tyrannies done for your own good. And I thought this, when I saw this exchange, who in their right mind would ever want to inflict pain on a child in the name of a change in policy? And I thought it's exactly what my mother saw in Cuba. Ladies and gentlemen of Virginia, no man who ever wants to inflict pain on children should ever be elected in any elective office, anywhere, anytime. It gets so much worse with Jay Jones. It gets so much worse because now we know that he said he wanted to see cops die because if a few cops died and died in the line of duty, perhaps they would change how they do policy and policing. Now, I will tell you this, the single hardest thing I have to do as Attorney General is an end-of-watch funeral. They call it the end-of-watch funeral for the officers that have fallen in the line of duty. And the reason they call it that is the last thing that happens before an officer's casket is rolled out of that congregation hall is they call out the officer's name and badge number 3 times. 3 times, no answer. Until they finally say, Officer Michael Chandler, or Officer Cameron Gerber, or Officer Christopher Reid, or Officer Joshua Painter. Your watch has ended. We now have the watch. just mentioned was the Washington hero I've attended. And I could give you so many more. I cannot imagine anyone ever sitting in this office that works with these law enforcement heroes every day, wishing death on law enforcement heroes, completely disqualifying. And so Virginians, ask yourself this question. How can we ever trust Jay Jones to prosecute an MS-13 gang member when he wants 2 bullets in the head of an innocent Virginian? How could Jay Jones ever comfort a mother that's lost a child to violence, knowing he's wished violence on small children? How could Jay Jones ever work with our law enforcement heroes, knowing he wants to see them die? How could Jay Jones ever stand in front of a judge with any credibility when we now know he's under current criminal investigation by a special prosecutor for lying to a judge? That is the stakes. That is the stakes, ladies and gentlemen. So Virginia, this is our time. This is our time. The nation's eyes are upon us. We all acknowledge we got to raise our discourse and our political discourse. Well, here's our moment. Because this is our moment of choosing. This is now not about politics, it's a test of decency. Virginians, are we ready to pass the test? Are we ready to pass the test? That's where we are. And so I'll just end with this. This is a remarkable country. Virginians, you deserve a government as good and as decent as you are. In October was the 60th anniversary of my mother fleeing Cuba with absolutely nothing. Nothing but the clothes on her back. She was penniless and homeless. And almost 60 years to the day after she left, she's got to vote for me to be her Attorney General. And so one of my favorite presidents is President Reagan, and he said this about our country. He said, of all the countries in the world, the United States is the only country in which our national anthem ends with a question. We still the land of the free, the home of the brave. Are you all ready to answer yes to that question? Are you all ready to answer yes to that question? Get out to vote, get 10 friends to vote, talk to your friends, your neighbors, who you work with and worship with, make sure they go vote. We have a rendezvous with Destiny tomorrow. We're going to pass that only if you go vote. God bless you all.
Where she's speaking, but now she is speaking. Please welcome our current Lieutenant Governor and the next Governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia, Winsome Earle-Sears, Mr. Tennessee, Governors General and Johnson.
years ago, wait, that's wrong speech. 4 years ago, you gave us an opportunity to serve you. I'm talking about our governor, Youngkin. I'm talking about our great Attorney General, MiYares. And thank you for hiring me to serve you. Well, it's deja vu all over again. Because we've got tomorrow. Tomorrow is coming. And we've got to preserve everything that we've already done and build on it. And it starts with you. It's your opportunity to make sure that we go forward. We don't go back. Forward is the only way I know. And folks, Abigail Spanberger, she has failed us. Let me tell you how she has failed us. Yes, take a seat. I've got 2 hours to kill. I'm just getting started. Love you back. Let me tell you how she's failed us. She has already said she is going to increase our taxes. What in the world? Believe her, because she wants to grow government, but I am going to grow business. That's what I'm going to do. She has failed us because she is soft on crime. She, my friends, took money from AOC's defund the police pack. Yes. And she said she is going to get rid of their qualified immunity. Not only did she say it, she voted for it. And you know what it means to get rid of their qualified immunity? It means that the minute that they go out on a call and something happens, well, folks, they can lose their house, they can lose their bank account, they can lose everything. Would you take that job? No! And that's why I have more than 81 sheriffs who've endorsed me. Now, I'm going to have to check if the governor is still here. Because, you know, the other day when he was talking about me and he said, and Winsome has the sheriff's endorsement, I stepped forward and I was about to say, and he said, I got this, Winsome. Because I was going to say, the governor got 50, I got 81 endorsements. So she's failed us when it comes to safety. In fact, my friends, Abigail Spanberger, when she was in Congress, voted for a bill for D.C. that would lessen crimes, lessen the penalties for those crimes. And it was just so crazy. I'm talking about lessen the time that you would get for kidnapping and murder and all those things. It was so bad that even Joe Biden vetoed the bill when it came to him. That's how bad it was. If Biden is vetoing a bill, my God. Think about it. And that, my friends, is also an issue because Abigail kept saying that she was always pals with Joe Biden, which means she knew when he was in cognitive decline and she border. And now she's saying that she's going to keep us safe? I think not. I think Abigail ought to go run for governor in California. I hear smiling Gavin Newsom can't run again. So there's a job opening there. And Abigail has failed us on energy policy because she only wants solar and wind. Folks, I bet you if you go outside, there's no solar and no wind happening. It's nonsense. Abigail is for nonsense, but I am for common sense. going to do redistricting? She said, no. Are you going to gerrymander? She said, no. Well, I said the same thing too. But, lo and behold, some people from the Democrat redistricting committee showed up and gave Abigail $150,000. And the next day, you guessed it, we were redistricting. We were redistricting. So Abigail sold out Virginia for $150,000. If she will do that, where we can see it, what will she do behind closed doors? We can't trust Abigail. Abigail is for Abigail. She's not for Virginia. Elect me as your next governor.
future.